It's the eye of the tiger, it's the thrill of the fight, rising up to the challenge of a rival. And the last known survivor stalks his prey in the night as he's watching us all with the eye of the tiger. Okay, Peter, I am back to say hello to you. I enjoy conversing with you on X, and I hope we can eventually do it again. But for now, we are in our separate corner of the boxing ring, doing our whatever other things we have to do. But for now, this video is a video pen pal letter like the other one I sent you that cannot, at this specific time, trickle down like the slow squeeze of cows' udders on the X comment sections. Okay. Peter, you use skepticism in Occam's razor, which is good. It's a very good thing to do that. Yet, if something were to come to light that changes your proverbial mind, then of course you need to also be skeptical of your own skepticism, should such a time occur. Would you agree with that? You got to be skeptical of your own skepticism when things begin to change and you see things differently by chance. Okay. So the other pen pal video that I gave you about asking God to show himself, if I were you, I would honestly and sincerely treat that question with the Schrodinger's cat box interpretation of quantum mechanics. Yet you need to understand that God will give you an answer on his timing. Okay, he will give you an answer on his timing. So if you secretly question him, you don't even have to talk to anybody about this. This is up to you. And if people prod you on it, say, did you really ask? You don't have to tell them shit. This is for you, okay? Then I don't want you to give up easy if God does not answer your question quickly, like a cheeseburger at the drive-thru. You know, you're getting it right away. Be patient, young Padawan, okay? Also, you can't be double-minded when asking God to show himself to you. You need to be open and honest with the fact that there is a possibility that he could exist. Or else you're a sloppy, lazy scientist, which I pray you're not. If you really want the truth, then you need to dig deeper and harder. Okay? So when it comes to Queen Elizabeth, yes, I'm going to reiterate some things that we already talked about. She could have remained in hospice care for years. We don't know for sure that she was going to die. We could guess that she's going to die, but we don't know. You can only assume, Peter, that Troy Black was predicting, but innately you can't prove that he was predicting. Okay? So anyways, Troy Black also did a prophecy that I deciphered myself, which has nothing to do with dead people, where I gathered the probability of that prophecy to be about a screenplay that I wrote. That video will be at the end of this video if you want to observe it scientifically. Be my guest, which, whatever you want to do. Anyways, as far as the hell testimonies go, when it comes to the science of psychology, observation, just like in any other area of science, is needed to find some kind of explanation, especially as to why those people are having the same experience. But of course, I assume you would say that they all made up similar stories, no matter how similar they are, and a lot of times it's the same thing, yet many of them, they did not want to share their stories in fear of being rejected, humiliated, and laughed at. Who the heck would want to talk about this stuff, you know? One guy stuffed it down inside of him for 4 years. He didn't want to tell anybody. It freaked and fucked him out, right? It was not something they wanted to go public about, these people. And a lot of other testimonies are the same way. The only reason they went public with their testimonies was because they don't want people to experience the same thing. They felt like, I don't want people to go through what I went through. And that's why they're telling people, okay? They got past their fear and anxiety of what people would think and said, there's something more important going on here, and we need to tell people. Okay? So don't just sweep that stuff under the rug. I wouldn't. Or you can. I don't know. Anyways, but then if you do, you might not find out for your own observation. Okay? The first guy in the video that I sent you, the hell testimonies, he used to be a punk rocker in the 80s. So when he starts crying after talking about the 4th level of hell, where his chin begins to quiver and he starts to cry. And I can tell that this burly guy is a man who isn't prone to crying. He's not effeminate, he's not gay. He's not the type that watches soap operas, he's a man's man. Observing these people's words and emotions will help you, Peter, to decide if they are genuine or false, or if they're regurgitating the stories of other people. Then from there you can decide if they are delusional or legitimate. But to make a judgment call before observing is prejudicial, sloppy, and dishonest. And to also say, well, I need evidence for this type of a thing. I mean, I understand testimonials, well, I need evidence of the testimony. Sometimes the testimony itself is by examining how the person reacts, their emotion, you just have to listen to what they're saying and say, is this person for real? And then you can decide whether it was delusional, even if you think it happened to them, but I don't think it really happened in that sense. Then you can decide, okay? So anyways, I told you that in order for you to have a better understanding of my own points, you'd have to get to know me a little bit as a person, similar to a way a psychologist gets to know a patient intimately. And since we were still somewhat on the subject of rape in the Bible, and you wanted me to address it more, and I have been, and I wanted to address it even more, I'll tell you this. In 1989, I was date raped at age 13 by a 19-year-old. We made out at a party, and I stayed at the party. My friend went home. It was a small party with just me and the two guys that were there. Not three, there was two. But anyways, she went home. We made out, but I didn't want to go all the way because I was a virgin, let alone I was 13 years old. But he did rape me. He held me down and he raped me. Stupid me. How am I supposed to know? I'm going to go make out and we're going to... Yeah, well, anyways. I went home that morning before my family woke up, but later that night when I went to sleep, I had a sleep paralysis dream, which I'd never had before. I was inside of a sink, like a bathroom sink, small. I was a tiny person in a sink where I involuntarily went down the drain where there was no water. Okay? I ended up in a place where people were in agony. I thought that I had woke up. After that happened, I thought that I had woke up because I was laying in my bed, but a black shadow of a man creature stood over my body, which caused my body to become paralyzed. I tried to scream, but I couldn't. Then I woke up, and thankfully my dad was awake because I needed comfort after having the shit scared out of me. I'm 13 years old, I'm a girl, I'm scared fucking shitless. My dad was awake, thankfully. And although rape is horrible, it's horrific. The hell dream that I had afterwards was necessary for my spiritual knowledge. Now, because being a virgin doesn't get anyone into heaven, because we're all screwed up pieces of shit to one degree or another, yet animals, babies, and children who haven't reached the age of accountability, and those born with severe mental disabilities, they do go to heaven when they die. How do I know this? Because God has mercy on the innocent. Even when God kills children and animals in the Bible, those children and animals go to heaven. Any adults who blatantly sin, they go to hell. Rape is nothing compared to eternity in hell, okay? You may think that everything on earth is just horrible. Well, hell is a million fucking times worse than anything that happens here. According to these people that have their hell testimonies, my testimony, that was the scariest shit that's ever happened to me. The sleep paralyzation, fucking no, you don't want that. Anyways, any type of victim of any crime needs to forgive their trespasser, yet many cannot forgive, which is a sin. Although forgiveness does not get you into heaven, even if you forgive all day long. If you don't believe in God, you're not going to go there, because why would you? If you were in a house and somebody didn't have nothing to do with you, but they wanted to come into your house, you'd say, no, you want nothing to do with me, get the fuck out. Or unless they came along and said, no, I really do want to get to know you now, then they say, okay. Same with God. He's not going to let people into his house if they don't give him no respect. You know what I mean? Would you do that? I don't think so. Okay. Anyways, I immediately forgave the guy who raped me because it was my fault for putting myself in that risky situation, because I was a stupid kid who didn't know any better. Okay, so anyways, I was seeing a counselor at the time, so a week after I was raped, I broke down and bawled my eyes out to my counselor. He told me that he had to notify the police. He asked me if I wanted to press charges. I didn't want to bring any overbearing attention to what happened to me. I just wanted to forget about it. So the cops went to the dude's house, letting him know that they were aware of what he did, but that I wasn't pressing charges. I can only determine that I was over the age of accountability, especially since I was engaging in sexual affairs despite the fact that I didn't want to copulate, which was why I had that dream which showed me where I was headed for if I were to die in my sins, although at the time I did not understand any of that. But finally, I understood what it meant, that hell dream, in the year 2019, after I had all of my Jesus testimony stuff, that the video I made. Anyways, my hell testimony lines up with other testimonies, yet the other testimonies that I've examined and observed, they have way more details with horrific, extremely horrific things that happen to them. In fact, you should just watch it just to hear what they're saying. It's worse than a fucking, what do you call it, a Hollywood horror movie. It's worse. You think that stuff's worse? You just watch what they're saying. It's like, holy shit. Yeah, do it for entertainment at least. Dang, why not? It might be fun for you if you like that kind of stuff. So anyways, at the time of my hell dream, when I was 13 years old, back in 1989, there was no internet or videos of people giving their testimonies of hell or heaven or whatnot, let alone that I had never heard of such a thing as a spiritual testimony, whether it be hellish or heavenly or reincarnation or any of that kind of stuff, until, I got older and I heard about reincarnation and I was learning different things as I got older. But when I was 13, no, I didn't know about that kind of stuff. So, yeah. And Peter, about Bible prophecies. You say Bible prophecies can't be true. They're debunked only because you believe that the Bible isn't true. So, and that, of course, if the Bible is fiction, then how can a prophecy be true? Yes, that's logical. Yet, there are 10 Israeli prophecies from the Bible that came true in the 1900s. Explain that one, okay? There are 500 biblical prophecies that are yet to be fulfilled, one of which is the mark of the beast, in which the coronavirus was a precursor to the type of government control that will be implemented when the Antichrist brings about the mark of the beast, where no one will be able to buy or sell without the mark. You have to admit that the government overtake was insane during that time, right? But then again, you may be the type of person to bow down to government. I don't know. I sure as hell don't. Fuck the government. Punk rock baby all the way. So anyways, the Bible also says that Russia and Iran will attack Israel, which will happen at the beginning of the 7-year tribulation that will bring in the mark of the beast. If you don't believe that there are prophecies that were fulfilled in the 1900s, then I'll show you where you can go to research it for yourself at the end of this video. Any kind of research you want to give me, I am glad to look at, and I will listen and I will look. Okay? That's how we research together. That's how we find truth together. I'm not trying to sweep your shit under the rug, so please don't try to sweep my shit under the rug. We need to come together with light. All right, brother? Okay. The whole point of me telling you these things with honor and respect to you is because I don't want you to end up in hell. If by happenstance you're forced to take the mark of the beast in your lifetime, will you believe in the Bible then? Well, if it happens to you, Peter, don't take the mark. I wouldn't fucking take it if I were you, and I'd go back and examine some shit and say, well, this shit's real? Okay, now, we're almost done. Earth is the game board between God and Satan, where humans are the players. Like Shakespeare says, the world is a stage and we're all merely players. If there is a God, and if he is the creator of the stars in the sky, which the star in our solar system, the sun, is capable of burning my ass, then I'm not going to give God the finger, as in fuck you, God, because I'm a cockroach scurrying about on his property to which he can crush me under his feet, if he has to. If there is a God and a devil, I'm going to be on Team God. That's just the way it is for me. Now for you, if you reject God, then you're automatically, it's by default, you're with the devil. It's just, and you're going to go there, where he lives, where God does not live or exist, which is the center of the earth, believe it or not. The Bible talks about it. It's down below, under the ground. And for those who refuse, and we're not talking about a little grave under there, we're talking about hot fucking lava in the middle of the earth, where the volcanoes spew. Okay? And for those who refuse to acknowledge Jesus as God incarnate, and as far as speciation goes, the missing link of the hominids isn't a physical matter. It's a spiritual matter, whereas Jesus is the missing link in your chain. Okay? You want to talk about chains? Chains in hell? Yeah. That's the missing link in your chain, and you'll be chained to that. but you have to believe, you have to understand what the Spirit is. But I don't think you believe in the Spirit, but that's okay. We're trying to get through this together, and I appreciate you very much. And as far as the evil shit that happens on Earth that came about when the Big Bang occurred, yes, the Big Bang. That was Adam and Eve slamming and banging the door in God's face. That is the Big Bang. It's not a theory, it's a fact. The Big Bang isn't some molecules that came out of nowhere and farted. No, God farted and came the earth. God farted again, and the wind of the Holy Spirit came up into our nostrils, and we were going, I don't know if I want that. And other people says, that smells pretty good, right? So anyways, and as far as pay again, as in money, pagans, okay? Pay again, pagans, who love and thank and worship the creation rather than the Creator, they will make their eternal and perpetual payments of making their own deathbed rather than allowing God to prepare a bed for them in heaven, which Jesus paid for. Rather than these pagan pagans will pay again and pay again and pay again for their sins in the eternal prison of hell, where the darkness is not just what you see, but what you feel to your core, like how the Force is described in the Star Wars movies. The darkness will horrifically penetrate those who end up in hell. So it's not just something you can see, or the lack of seeing because you're in darkness. It's something that penetrates into your soul, and that is horrific. Okay, so Peter, because you have an inherent and intrinsic value, you are worth my time and energy, as well as you are worth God's time and energy, whether you believe in Him or not. Because whether we believe in things or not, there are things out there that we still have not discovered and know of. I think any scientist can say we don't know everything. Because God is the epitome of time and energy. Okay, that's why He gives you the time and energy, because it comes from Him. He is that. Okay, I'll give you a quick look at this link about the 1900s Bible prophecies, and then we'll be done with the video. Okay. Okay, so this is the Bible prophecies. I've typed up here Bible prophecies that have been fulfilled in the 1900s, and then this is what came up right here, and this is the link. So this is the link. I have it nice and big for you. 10 prophecies fulfilled in the 1900s from the talkjesus.com. So there it is. I'll go like that. If it's easier for you to read like that or not, you can pause it, put it into your search bar, and there you go. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Peter, for listening, if you are. Thank you.